So this is the Devops mock interview day 41. We have already completed 40 mock interviews. Whoever watching this video on YouTube, right? You can check out in the playlist section. There you can find Devops interview question and answers. So please like this video. So the video target is 40 likes. If I get 40 likes, I will going to upload the next mock interviews. If not, we will not going to upload, and we will not going to continue this mock as well. Even though if we continue, we will not record it. So Abhishek, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, myself Abhishek. So basically from Chennai. So I have overall of 3 years of experience and 2 years focused mainly on AWS and cloud and DevOps. So in my current organization, I focus mainly on creating the infrastructure using Terraform and packing the apps using Docker and orchestrating them with the Kubernetes. And for automating the pipelines, we will be using Jenkins in our organization. And also I have used Git as a version control tool. So I mean, this is the overall view of what I'm doing
So
in my
there is some voice break from your side. So is it the same for you, Venkatesh?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah, Abhishek, there is some voice break from your side.
Okay, is it audible right now?
You can continue. I will get to know.
Okay, so I'll start. So I myself Abhishek with 3 years of experience in the industry.
Yeah, still same.
Okay, I don't know what to do. What's wrong with it? Sorry. I'll do one thing. I'll rejoin.
Okay. So let's give the opportunity to Venkatesh. Hi, Venkatesh. Please introduce. So Venkatesh, next month is your target. Please try to get a job. Yeah, Venkatesh.
Definitely, bro. Definitely, I will do my best, and I'm giving an interview some. So I'm going to better to upcoming interviews.
So I will request once Baba Sahib as well to.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, please go ahead, introduce yourself.
Thank you giving this opportunity. My name is Aniseti. I'm from Hyderabad. I was working in Tech Software Private Limited in Kondapur. My skill set including extensive expertise in AWS for cloud infrastructure management and Git for version control. I'm well continuous integration and deployment using Jenkins along build automation through Maven. I have experience with code quality like security tools, SonarCube and JFrog, as well as configuration optimization. I work with Kubernetes for orchestrating and scaling applications. My proficient in infrastructure has a code demonstrate through use of Terraform. Additional, I'm shell script in automate tasks and utilize Prometheus and Grafana for monitoring and visualization. My background equips me to drive efficient and reliable DevOps practice in any dynamic environment. That's it from my side.
Okay. Still there is some
Mm,
lag.
okay.
Okay. Shall we start the mock?
Yeah.
So you need to improve. You are right, like perfect. I'm not telling you are not perfect, but there is some little bit lag.
Okay. Okay, bro. Definitely, I will improve myself.
So how do you debug DNS issues in Kubernetes? Like your pod has a DNS issue. So how you will debug that? So by next mock, right, our Kubernetes will going to end. So what is kubeproxy? How does it manage networking in Kubernetes?
Kubeproxy is a component worker node. What it basically does is it receives the information from masters and sends the information to worker and makes sure all the information all
Not audible.
back to.
Your voice is not audible, Abhishek.
Yeah, Abhishek, your voice is not audible, but okay, I can able to understand whatever you are going to explain. So yeah, you are right. Whatever you said, you are right. Yeah, continue, Abhishek.
So yeah, I mean, basically it receives information from master. It is one of the core. It is one of the component in worker node, and it sends all the information to worker. And based on that, and it should report. It should ensure that and the worker nodes are reporting back to the master as well. So this is
Okay.
proxy.
So how do you handle network congestion or performance issues in Kubernetes? Aniseti,
Basically,
you can participate because Abhishek has some issues, right? Take this opportunity. Try like whatever you know. Okay, how do you perform an upgrade of Kubernetes cluster? So this is also an important question.
basically, when you want to update a cluster, what you will do is first we will be taking a command like PL call. So by doing this, keep you know it will not assign any paths to the nodes, and then you need to drain the nodes and gracefully move it to the another worker node. And once it is done, you need to update the master node. The first master node, the changing the version of the Terraform code, and also the current worker node. What we are doing is we will be changing the AI version in the worker node just by doing this. Once after the update is done, we will be doing kubectl and cordon. So by doing this, the kubectl will know then the nodes are getting updated, and you can also it will assign the pods which are newly created.
Okay, okay. You can check this mock right once I update. So there is no like I cannot able to understand anything. Okay.
Yes, Kubernetes cluster upgrade the control panel and the nodes your cluster. Upgrade clients such as a kubectl.
How do you handle large scale application deployments? That too across multiple clusters.
How do you handle?
So what is different between vertical scaling and horizontal scaling in Kubernetes?
Basically, based on the CPU utilization, it will automatically scale up the pods in hot. That concept is called horizontal pod auto scaling. In vertical pod auto scaling, you can increase the memory and CPU sizes. So that is what vertical scaling.
Okay. So what is blue-green deployment in Kubernetes?
Blue-green deployment is also similar to updates. So basically, what it does is it saves the current traffic in blue environment. Once because without any zero downtime, it updates the clusters, and once the is updated, the traffic saves to blue-green deployment.
Blue-green deployment is use database version database organization to track the application database.
Already we have discussed about this blue-green deployment in the previous mocks. Okay, we will take two clusters.
Yes,
We will take one as a blue, another one as a green. So the active traffic
green,
will go to where?
blue.
Blue.
So if you see this one we already discussed. So I go to images. So this is the load balancer. He is the user. Who is a customer for us. Okay, end user. Okay, so this here we have a router or load balancer. Okay, he will try to visit a amazon.com, amazon.in. So the request will go to the, if the Amazon company like following some strategy, deployment strategy, if they are following the blue green deployment strategy, okay, in the version 1 will be in the green, blue will be the version 1. So the traffic will go to green, right? And updated version will be worked on this another environment. If it is updated to version 2, right, the network traffic will change it to this. Getting my point? If you
Yeah.
see this,
So basically, blue shows the current traffic and green will be updated traffic, right?
just a moment. So this is the route 53, which is DNS load balancer, elastic load balancer in AWS. He is the end user. Whenever you hit any website, there will be two. Okay, using auto scaling group, the request will go to that blue and green, both will be there. So exact number of instances is in blue fit, exact number of instances. Okay, I will see one more diagram. Right, if you see here also load balancer, it is going to green, right? Blue will be the load balancer version 2. So you will maintain two versions. Okay, green will be active, blue will be inactive. Okay, here version 2. Okay, now they will work on the version 3, right? Once the version 3 is available, load balancer will shift to, right, shifted, and this environment will convert it as a green, this environment will be converted as a blue. Again they will work on newer version. Getting my point?
Yeah, bro.
Okay, if you see blue green deployment, Canary and more. Okay, I will give this article. Okay, just go through that. In this we have multiple deployment strategies. Okay, blue green Canary. Okay, you can read. In the interview they will ask you, right, what is the deployment strategies in your company you are following. Okay, blue green. So load balancer, user traffic, version 1, version 2. So the new version of the application is deployed in the green environment and tested for functionality and performance. Once the testing result are successful, application traffic is routed from blue to green. Green then becomes the new production. Getting my point? Just read this. Go through that. If there is an issue after green becomes live, traffic can be routed back to blue. With the blue green in a blue green deployment, both systems use the same persistence layer or database backend. It's essential to keep the application data in sync, but the mirror database can help achieve that. You can use primary database by blue and for write operation, and use the secondary for green for read operations. Okay, read operation nothing but only can able to access that website. Write nothing but new updates will be added. So during switchover from blue to green, database is failed over from primary to secondary. If green also needs to provide data during testing, the database can be bidirectional replication. Once green becomes live, you can shut down or recycle the old blue instances. You might deploy a newer version on those instances and make them new green from the next release. So in the Canary deployment, so Canary deployment is like blue green, except it's more risk averse. Instead of switching from blue to green in one step, you use a phase approach. Okay, it's a risk based, right? There will be a risk. With Canary deployment, you deploy a new version of code in small part of production infrastructure. Once the application is signed off for release, only a few users are routed to it. And this minimizes an impact. So, do you use WhatsApp or like whatever it may be, applications in your mobile? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So, did you get any update in your Play Store? You are a beta tester.
Yes,
Update,
sir.
right?
We will get automatically it will update it
Yeah.
once we connect our Wi-Fi.
So that is one type of Canary deployment. Only few users will get that version. Okay, remaining user will not get. So that is a beta tester. So if you see load balancer on the same server, right, same cluster, there will be two versions will be deployed. For some users, they will send the traffic to newer versions. For some user, they will send the traffic to older version. Getting my point? That is a canary. So if you read this, Canary deployment is like blue-green, except it's more risk averse. Instead of switching from blue to green in one step, you use a phased approach. With Canary deployment, you will deploy a new application code in small part of production infrastructure. Once the application is signed off for release, only a few users are routed to it. This minimizes any impact. With no errors reported, the new version can gradually roll out to the rest of the infrastructure. The image below demonstrates Canary deployment. Okay, first some part is green, then after total for part, right, become the green. So here your cost will be reduced or not. In the blue green, what you are doing, you are taking two environments, nothing but same cluster, two you are creating. So almost double the amount. Investment is will be double, yes or no? If you want to reduce the amount, if you want to take the risk, go for Canary deployment. You will be having the same cluster. Some part will be converted to the newer, some part will be the version 1. Slowly you will going to increase and your total cluster will become newer version. The main challenge of Canary deployment is to diverse a way to route some users to the new application. Also, some applications may always need the same group of users for testing, while others may require different groups every time. So consider a way to route new users for, right, exposing like what is the method you need to follow, everything they have mentioned clearly. So deployment best practices, what you need to do. So after deployment, what you need to monitor. So got it right? What is the difference between Canary and blue-green deployment? In the interview, whenever they ask, in both of this, you can able to tell anyone, and you need to tell confidently. If you are still struggling how to explain, right? Read out, make a note, right? In a company, we are following blue-green deployment. Okay, we have giving, we are updating our versions, right? In the blue, in the green, our active users will be, right, rooted. Once we set up the newer version to in the blue environment, we will convert the like we will just shift the traffic to the green blue environment. Again, we will start working on the green. Now the blue is shifted as a green, and the green is shifted as a blue, and they will work on newer version on that particular environment. Like this, we are following a blue-green deployment. You can explain. Getting my point? Is there any still confusion? Shall we go to next question?
Yes.
Yes.
So how do you implement Canary deployment in Kubernetes? Same, this just now we have discussed. So what are shadow deployment in Kubernetes? So how do you deal with failed rollouts in Kubernetes?
For deployment, we'll be using this layer.
Sorry?
Previous version.
Sorry for that. I cannot able to hear you. Sunil or Venkatesh, you want to try? If there is a failed rollout, what you will do? What are the steps you will follow?
Once we check on logs information,
Super, you are right.
so we resolve it.
So you will see the logs, you will resolve. So that is the answer you will give. What are the steps you will follow?
Yes,
What are the commands you will execute? That thing we are expecting, right? In the interview also they will expect the same.
yes, yes,
If you tell like this, opposite person
yes,
will
yes. You
get angry and definitely will not going to select. So you need to elaborate, you need
will
to
select.
explain. Then only you can able to crack.
Yes, yes, and kubectl. Yes,
kubectl rollout status deployment, right? You will check the status, why it was failing and all like that. You will told. You will let us check the answers. Okay. So how do you debug DNS issues in Kubernetes? DNS issues can be debugged by
okay.
checking core
Oh,
DNS logs, ensuring DNS policies are correct, and using tools like NSLOOKUP or dig within a pod. So what is the real life example for this DNS issue? A pod cannot resolve the service name due to DNS misconfiguration. So command to check kubectl exec -80, nothing but I'm logging inside the pod, okay, and I'm NSLOOKUP and the service name which I want to check. So by using this I can able to at least get the logs, get the output, right? Using that I can able to get to know what is the issue exactly. Like that I can able to debug. Debug is nothing but one type of troubleshoot. What is kubeproxy? How does it manage networking in Kubernetes? So kubeproxy manage network rules and load balancing for services in Kubernetes. I told you multiple times, right? Kubeproxy is the main component who will manage the networking. So from service, if I want to send the traffic to my pod, kubeproxy is the candidate who will take and it will send the traffic to the pod. So forwarding traffic from an external service to a correct backend pods. So if you want to check the logs, right? Kubeproxy logs, kubectl logs -n, kube system, okay, and kubeproxy pod name. How do you handle network congestion or performance issues in Kubernetes? So network policies, pod resource limits, right? Quality of service settings can help, right? Alleviate congestion. So the real life example for network congestion or performance issue, like throttling resource usage in pods that consumes excessive network bandwidth. Like for suppose you can give the limits, right? Memory and CPU for a container. Okay. Now you asked me in real time, will we need to set up all these things? Or will we need to do it from scratch? Okay, I told you that you will edit the manifest file. Like for suppose you will get a request to increase the memory and CPU of this particular pod or not pod for deployment. Okay, at that time what you will do, you will edit the manifest file, you will apply it. So like this type of task you will do. So I'm not telling this on air. Okay, my friend already working, so his major task was this itself. Okay, he used to get the task. Not only this, there will be multiple tools, but apart, like on Kubernetes part, you might get this type of tasks as well, like increasing the resource limits for your pods. Okay, so how do you perform an in-place upgrade? But once you join the company, right, you will easily manage, you no need to worry. Just prepare perfectly on every tool. Whenever they ask any question, what are the deployment strategies you are following, you need to be ready to answer that. Okay, in the Kubernetes, if they ask what is kubeproxy, okay, whatever it may be, you need to in a position to answer. So how do you perform an upgrade of Kubernetes cluster? So upgrading cluster usually involves upgrading the control plane components first, followed by the worker nodes. So in the interview, if they ask, yeah, first I will upgrade the master, then after I will upgrade the worker node. What is the command to upgrade? Ekctl upgrade cluster, name of your cluster, and the version. So upgrading a Kubernetes cluster from version 1.20 to 1.21 using a managed service like EKS. So this is the command if you want to upgrade your EKS cluster. How do you handle large scale application deployment across multiple clusters? So multi-cluster deployment strategies such as federation or GitOps help manage large scale application across different clusters. Deploying a global application with services distributed across clusters in different regions. So use GitOps for multi-cluster deployment. Flux create source git, multi-cluster repo URL, GitHub repo. So during Argo CD, we have set up this URL or not? GitOps repository. There, whenever I update the deployment file,
Yes.
right, Argo CD automatically updating the version. So that is the automatic deployment, right, which we have done. And I have shown you in the Argo CD, you can have another
Yes.
cluster as well. You can add multiple cluster. So what is difference between simply in the interview if they ask, right, how do you handle large scale application deployment across multiple clusters? What I will do, I will use a tool called as Argo CD. There I will configure my manifest files as a GitOps repository. Okay, and I will set up the applications. What are the applications which we have deployed? So Argo CD is a deployment tool which help us to manage the multi-cluster deployments. In Argo CD you can have multiple clusters. We have added a EKS, right? We have added an EKS using Argo CD. Okay, do one thing today at 7 p.m. if you can able to join. Okay, already like one candidate has enrolled for a project. Today I'm going to show EKS cluster. Okay, if you are free,
Sure, sir.
join tonight at 7 p.m. IST.
Okay,
So
sir.
there I will show you the real-time projected. Then you will get a revision. Okay, what is difference between vertical and horizontal scaling?
Definitely.
So horizontal scaling increases or decreases the number of pods. Vertical scaling adjusts the resources like CPU and RAM of a single pod. Use horizontal pod autoscaler to scale the number of pods use like high traffic. If you see this is the, if you increase the limits of your pod, it is a vertical scaling. If you are creating one more pod, that is a horizontal scaling. Getting my point? If you increase the limit of this pod, it is a vertical. If you are creating one more pod, it is a horizontal. So what is blue-green deployment, which we have discussed, right? A blue-green deployment creates two environments, blue and green, where traffic is gradually switched from one to another. Deploying a new version of an application with zero downtime by switching from blue to green. API version, kind, deployment, metadata, name of your deployment, blue deployment, replicas 3, match labels, okay, version blue. So how do you implement Canary deployment in Kubernetes? Okay, so replicas, selector, match labels, app, version Canary, template, meta labels, app version Canary, image app version 2. Nothing but you will have a labels. So using that label concept, okay, you will deploy the application. Okay, you will set, you depending upon that label, you will deploy the new applications or like sorry new version. Getting my point? Slowly you will update the labels and you will deploy the newer. What are shadow deployment at Kubernetes? Shadow deployment send real user traffic to both old and new version without the user being aware, allowing you to test the new version without affecting user experience. So sending mirroring traffic to new microservice version for load testing. Super. So shadow deployment nothing but you are intentionally going to send some dummy traffic to test your website. Getting my point? So for suppose if this is my new application which I have created, okay, I will send a traffic to my like website to just check whether my application will respond correctly or not. Depending upon that, if I get the real traffic, will it able to tolerate or not? So you will not understand this, okay, this manifest and all, but slowly you will get. How do you deal with failed rollouts in Kubernetes? Kubectl rollout undo deployment, you can roll back to previous version, right? Then you will go back to the previous version, stable version. So use kubectl rollout undo deployment. Then you can check the logs as well after. But first you need to roll out, right? To revert to previous version if the deployment fails. A new release cause errors and you roll back to previous stable version. Kubectl rollout undo deployment name. Okay, got it. So that's it for the today mock. I will stop the recording.